Okay, good afternoon. This is always the best place to have the presentation after the lunch when everybody are a little bit tired. I hope you had some coffee there too. Today I'm going to talk to you about megatrends and the future of skills. And nowadays I have started to use this new logo in my presentation. It's this hand and there's a human-made text, meaning that I have really made myself these slides, not the artificial intelligence, which can make the slides today. I could just say that future of skills and it would make all the slides. But I have to say I'm a little bit lazier, so not lazier, so I do it myself because I know my quality is now better still. You already know about me, so maybe one of the things that I could mention is that I'm a writer also. I have been writing 14 books, my own or together, and my books, topics of my books vary very much. So I have been writing children's book, but I have been writing about future of technology and future of the world, future of consumer trends, and I'm also a science fiction writer. So I have to say that I'm a little bit a nerd by my nature. But future is a topic that I'm really into. Then I wanted to tell a little bit like odd facts about me. So these odd facts are my hobbies. These are my dogs, 2 dogs. And as you can see, they are not the smartest one in the world. The one in the left is looking very happy because he just chewed my eyeglasses. They don't, there's a parts are missing, but this is what I do in my free time, chasing the dogs, what they are stealing at that time. But now I'm talking about future of skills, and skills are of course connected to future of work. What is the work in the future? And we have to try to understand what is the work in the future, and then we can start to think that what are the skills needed, because the skills are something that we have to start training these new skills that we are ready then when it comes to the future. When it comes to the future, it's very difficult to know what is happening there. Sometimes people think that, okay, Elina, you are a futurist, so could you tell what is happening in the future? What is the future of work? And I'm unfortunately saying that no, I can't say it. But it's not that I'm a lousy futurist. I'm a human being, and nobody can predict the future. We can, of course, try to guess what is happening in the future, but I think the most wise thing is to be humble and say that we don't know. We have to think different kind of things that could happen in the future. And as one of my background is in engineering, I like formulas, and I like putting different things in formulas, like life. Do you know what is a formula of life? It's death minus birth. I know, just start to talk with a philosopher and then you get like 2 weeks or 2 years of discussion. But engineer is saying it in one formula. But my formula for the anticipating the future is that how to look at the future is that we have to think about the facts. Facts are something that is happening now and have happened in the history. So future is about the history too. But how do we see then to the future? We have to use the imagination. So we have the facts. These are the facts that are happening now. Then we think that what could happen with these facts? What's next there? And so this is how I approach when it comes to the future of work or future of skills. And one of the biggest facts that futurists use are what I call megatrends. And megatrends are these big trends that have been there for many years and decades. And I have a list of 10 megatrends that I'm using. And many futurists have their own list of megatrends. And these are, surprise, quite similar because we are talking about the same issues. And this is my list of 5 megatrends. Climate change. Have you heard about the climate change? Yes, you have heard about the climate change. And that's what I expected. Everybody have heard about the climate change. And why I'm talking about the climate change then when we are talking about the future of skills? Because it's here and it's definitely going to be there in the future more and more. So these are the big issues that we have to think about. Eco-crisis and the loss of biodiversity. I would say that climate change and eco-crisis and the loss of biodiversity are two of the biggest challenges that humankind is facing now and in the future more so. It's going to affect our environment. Increase of population. There is now 8 billion people in the world. Demographic change, urbanization, these are 5 megatrends, and then I have the rest of the 5 megatrends. I'm a little bit talking about more later on, but globalization is 1 megatrend. Well, you can see it here in the conference. We have had speakers from Switzerland, USA, and I'm from Finland. Increase of wealth and consumption, increase of inequity, digitalization and the technological development. So these are the big trends that are happening now, that are affecting our lives in the future, that are affecting what we need to learn in the future. I take some examples here. When we think about these megatrends, they are also big challenges for the future, and we need people to solve these challenges, and that's why we would definitely need the new skills. But now I start to talk about, for example, climate change and eco-crisis, where the average temperature is rising and we know what are the causes of the climate change, for example, melting glaciers, more extreme weather events, more rainfall, more droughts, rising sea levels, less food production and so on. And we are actually quite good in polluting the world. 99% of the people in the world are living in the areas where the air quality is poor. 99% of the 8 billion people, so that's like horrible. And these are causes, these give new challenges to our life. For example, we will have more and new health issues. There was a calculation how much when you have a very warm day, plus 30 degrees, it's decreasing the effectivity of our workers. And that was something like $17 per day. And then we have new diseases, new zoonoses, for example. And for example, depression is increasing because of the climate change and it affects to our environment. We will have a shortage of materials. Actually, water is limited resources. Fresh water is limited resource in the world. But then we have some challenges with the sand. What do you think that we have challenges in sand in the world? And now I'm not worried about the cat litter boxes, but sand we are using for construction. And for example, for construction purposes, we cannot use any sand from, for example, Sahara, because the shape is wrong. So these sands they are digged out of the river banks, and there is even sand mafias in the world. So we will have certain type of resources that we are fighting in the future. Well, then of course we will have challenges with the food production. The extreme weathers are definitely making it much more difficult for agriculture to work with the old habits, old ways that they have worked. So this is one thing that it's going to change food production. And then we will have less and less these pollinators like wasps and bees. And because of the extreme weather events, we will have maybe growing need for healthcare workers and rescue workers. So there are new occupations that we need more. And we have to totally change our way of living. We have to move to the carbon neutral world. That is really a must. And then the other must is a circular economy. So these are already two of the things that we will need in the future. We will need people who know about circular economy, who know about climate change, how to avoid and how to adapt. That is one thing with the climate change. We have to adapt to the climate change also. Okay, increase of population and demographic change. the one note here is it's not concerning us, the increase of population, because I know that you have the same problem that we have there in Finland. But anyway, the total population of the world has increased. I will tell you my age. I'm 52 years old. Now you can say, what? Please, what? Thank you. You are so polite. Thank you. Okay. So when I was born, there were less than 4 billion people in the world. And now there are over 8 billion people in the world. So the population of the world has doubled in the time of one middle-aged woman like me. And the demographic is changing, and we are more talking about the aging of population, which is actually a big thing, aging of population. And Finland is actually the third most aging country in the world. The first is Japan. Usually we talk about, when we talk about aging of population, it's like Japan and the silver folks there. But then it's Italy, then it's Finland, and I noticed that Latvia is 10th aging population in the world. And I was looking at some statistic about Latvia's population. You have now about 1.9 million people here. Estimated population in 2045 is 1.6 million people, and in 2100 it's 1.16 million people. So it's declining. This is the same thing happening in Finland. The population is declining. But there are people in the world. There are people in Africa. There are people in India. Half of the Indian population are listed as young people. That means that about 700 million people are young people. There are 700 million young people in India, and if you compare that to the population of European Union, there are more young people in India than there are people in European Union. So this is something that is really going to change. It's going to change Finland, it's going to change Latvia, but definitely when we think about these demographic issues, we have certain needs, increased need for elderly care. This is definitely what's going to happen here in Latvia, there in Finland. Then we will have a shortage of workers. I think it was estimated that 2050 there's about 200,000 people less than today that are at working age in Finland. And we have, I think, 4 solutions for shortage of workers. Immigrants is one thing that we will definitely have. Even if you want to keep your closed doors, we will have climate refugees in the world. Then we will have senior workers, artificial intelligence and robotics, and re-education. So learning, educating is one key for the shortage of the workers. So because there are people who have skills that are not needed anymore, so they should be like upskilled. This is actually a picture of my daddy. He's 87 years old, and he's an engineer. He has his own company, and he's doing this, calculating these pipes and this kind of stuff, air ventilation to houses. And I think that might be one example. I know that many of you don't want to work when you are 87 years old, but then there are people who can work, and we need also senior workers. In Finland, there is a talk about the issue that if you are 50, you may be too old for working. Come on, I just started here. I think that I'm in full power now of being over 50. So I think that senior workers will definitely be one solution for the challenge that we don't have workers enough. Then we will have in the future multicultural working environments. That is something that is going to happen more and more. I know that these are the things that you have different opinions about that, but I think that is one thing that is going to help the challenge that we have in these aging countries. We have multicultural workers in our countries. There more and more in the future. Urbanization and globalization are two big megatrends that are happening. People are moving into cities. Over half of the world population are living in the cities. And globalization, well, this has happened and more in the digital world. We are more global there. Of course, when we talk about the globalization, I have heard the term, it's quite a cool term, slowbalization, which is globalization going slow, so slow globalization. So of course there are like pros and cons with the globalization, so it's affecting to some part of the nation, and some people don't like the globalization. Actually this is happening, well, at least in Finland, and I think in many other countries too. We want to maybe close our doors, but still I think that we are very global there. And then there is a challenge, how to attract workers from abroad. And this is actually something that we are talking about in Finland. We had the parliament elections, and then there is one nationalist party that is quite popular now. And they are counting that how many people can come to Finland or not. But I would say that in the future there is a competition between European Union countries who will get the immigrants to work there. And this is one of the challenges. But of course, when it comes to immigration, there is a challenge how you get the immigrants into your society. How do you teach them to speak your language and your certain cultural manners or habits? And this, I think, when we talk about adult learning, this is something that people don't talk much about, that this adult learning is also when we have adults from other countries, and we should teach them so they would have an occupation. And we will, for example, we have a huge need for example, nurses in Finland. We will be in trouble with our healthcare system because there is growing amount of old people. Growing amount of old people means, for example, growing amount of certain diseases, Alzheimer, cancers are increasing. We will need to have these nurses, we will need to have more doctors. And now this is something that we are fighting against other countries in Europe. Will we get the best workers, immigrant workers, to work there in Finland? And this is again what are the advantages that you could give to these people who are maybe choosing that which is the country that I'm targeting from my country where the climate is now in awful condition, for example. Increase of wealth, overconsumption, and rising inequality are some of the megatrends also. And one thing is that we are wealthier than the generations before. We can see that, for example, in statistics, that wealth, when you count it with GDP per person, it has grown globally. So we are wealthier now. And which is very good, and which means that we are maybe having more money, for example, for education. But then the big challenge in the world is overconsuming, and this is something what happens when people get wealthier, they buy more stuff, and these are causing climate change and the biodiversity loss. And this is something that, again, we must work. We have to have skills to fight these huge issues of the world. Again, circular economy, this is a hot topic in Finland, or green topic in Finland that we are talking about. And this is something that we need skilled workforce to solve these problems with the circular economy. Then, of course, digitalization and technological development, and we have heard, and Gert showed us very interesting examples what is happening with the field of artificial intelligence and technological development. And I will show you actually a couple of videos of these examples. First video is me talking to a robot.
If you have seen Nadine, yes?
Nadine, sorry. Hello.
Is it on?
There's no need to apologize. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too.
What do you like most about it?
To see
She
you.
is bad-tempered.
You have nice hair.
What do you say when someone says they like your hair?
Thank you.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, that wasn't that smart robot. But to be fair to that robot, this was about 7 years ago that I met this robot. Really human-like robot. Her name was Nadine, and there was a female professor that had made her. That's why the Nadine had very nice hair. It's actually quite nice when somebody is putting you next to a robot and says that, please start to have a discussion with the robot. What do you say to robot? Come on. And I was thinking that, okay, what could I say? And then I was noticing the nice hair, and then I was saying that you have nice hair. And nobody has said to that robot before, so Nadine was answering that, what do you say when someone is saying that you have nice hair? And I said that thank you, and she said that you are welcome or whatever. But that was something that she learned already. And when looking at this video, it's like showing that I think that Nadine, this robot, was a little bit creepy, but still I think very promising. And now we have ChatGPT. And imagine what this could mean in the future. This was 7 years ago. We have the technology here waiting behind the door. Will this be one part of the healthcare or elderly care in the future? If it would be something, then we would need different kind of skills in the healthcare, in the elderly care in the future to do something with the robots, to robot hairdresser, for example. That was a joke. You can laugh now. Okay, you do that when I order. Okay, that's very good to know. Okay, so that was one video about the technology. I have to go to the next one. This is me using ChatGPT. And this is really, look at the cursor there. I'm really slow. I haven't fastened or slowed this, but I'm really slow there. But I saw what I do now. I'm probably thinking there's something. And I write, could you code me a random number generator brackets between 1 and 100? I would use this in my web node. It's internet page. Net site. And look what it's doing. It's writing a code. I was describing what I want to do, it's writing a code, and then it was in WebNode, and then it's also giving me advice. NetNode is one company's place where you can design your own web pages. And then it's showing me how to do that. So you can even code without knowing anything about coding. So this is what I do, and this is what it looks like. This is my web page. When you go to the random number generator, you press the generate, then it gives number between 1 to 100, and now it's 15. Imagine, I don't have to know even how to code. I can do this by using ChatGPT. And this was only the reason that I wanted to show is that we are at this stage. If you think about the future in 10 years, it has totally changed the business. My son just graduated and he wants to go to study computing. And he was saying that, come on, nobody will use any my skills because computers will code. And I was saying that, well, your work will change. You will probably not code in the future, but we are in connection with computers more and more in the future. So I think that this is really a future area. So just go for it. Okay, now summarizing this. I think that there are certain raising future areas when there is potential because these are solving the problems of the world. And these are, for example, health, rescue work, new agriculture, circular economy, new energy sectors, green tech, synthetic biology. This is my favorite, synthetic biology. It's a gene manipulation with computing power, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, ICT, quantum computing. These are the future areas. And now I have a video, the skills that we would need in the future, meta skills. So, if you think that in the times of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, we don't have anything more to learn because artificial intelligence is doing something or everything for us, you're a little bit wrong. This is the time that now we really need learning and upgrading our skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Elina Hiltunen.